Fantastic. Alrighty, guys. I'm Russell Mackay. I'm the Lower South Island Business Manager for FarmIQ and FARMAX. Thank you very much for attending tonight. I've been with the company since January, and in the background, that's my farm there. That's Braymore Farms, located about 30 minutes north of Gore, an hour south of Kingston, just to give you an idea of the lay of the land. And today I've got my right-hand man and my senior, Adam. Adam, why don't you tell the folks a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, when he says senior, that's only in how long I've been with FarmIQ and FARMAX. Okay, let's not be mistaken here with the vast knowledge and practical hands-on experience that Russell has at his fingertips. Staying with a hands-on pun. Myself, like I said, been FarmIQ 6.5 years, and then stepped into the FARMAX side of things. So last year, November. It's not been as steep a learning curve as others may find it, but there's certainly been some new stuff in there that I need to get my head around, and like the GHG tools and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, welcome to tonight, and hopefully you'll find it illuminating and enlightening and save you a bit of time as you record things on the go.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we're yarning about today, Adam, aren't we? We're talking about how FarmIQ and FARMAX can save you a bit of time, and you can use that time for whatever you wish. Most of our farmers tend to use any free time to do more farming, and we're not against that at all. So to get us kicked off, feel free to type in the message board there. Just let us know that you're there, and we'll make sure that everything's working. And I'll get kicked off. I'm going to show my farm and show a couple of ways how FarmIQ can save you a bit of time with your recording. So just bear with me for a second here, folks. I'll share my screen. Here we go. So this is Braymore Farms. Anybody who's familiar with the area. This is Riversdale here. And down here, that's Gore. And as you can see, we're all spread out at the moment. So FarmIQ, it's a map-based farm management tool. Most of it is based on the map, and that's the way that farmers tend to operate the way they think. So for example, if you were to do a chemical application, you just select on the paddocks you want to do them in, for argument's sakes. Accidentally clicked on the mob there. And then we right click on them. Oh, it's not letting me do that because I'm in a sharing mode here. Let's say we'll go to land, come to applications, and go chemical. And then you just say the paddocks that you're doing, when it happened. It's doing that 7-acre paddock. Doing it with a ground spreader. We'll say that I did it, Russell. You can say how much water you used. Just one application, chemical name, and it comes up with the stuff I've already got in my chemical shed here. So let's say I was putting some herbicide on there. And you just put in a number for argument's sakes. And you can add your batch number in there too, if you haven't already saved it into your inventory. And then save. And now that information will be forever stored in your FarmIQ, in your paddock history, and that will also update your inventory, which we have in here. So if I come into product inventory, so by doing that application, FarmIQ does a really simple X minus Y and lets you know how much you've used and how much you still got on hand. And it's the exact same process for doing, let's say, a animal health treatment. So if we come back to the map, you can see that we've got all of our mobs all over the show here. Can click on any of them. And let's say we are doing a treatment. You can say you're doing it by mob or by paddock. Let's say I was doing all of those, that entire mob, all of my singles. Say when it happened, time of day, and it's the exact same process. So once you learn how to do one thing, you've actually learned how to do several. It's exactly like doing a chemical application to the land. Let's say it was a drench. Again, in the products, at the top, it's got what I've already used or what is in my inventory. So let's say I was giving them a switch high mineral. Application rate for these girls, say I was giving them 15 mil. And I'm taking them from this batch number, which I've already got saved in my inventory. And then it says, actually, I need a bit more. So let's use another batch. There we go. And then you come on down and push save. But I won't actually do that because they'll throw my records out.
Well, if you're not going to press save, we might go a little bit deeper with Adam and Russell. What you can also do is, for example, if you're staying on this page and you only drenched some of them, or like a particular stock class, where it says single tooths, so in that, so you give them a click, you'll now get a breakdown of who's in that mob by class and tally, and in that far column, you can now say how many were actually drenched. And that's pretty handy then if you've got, if you're just finishing off a drum, potentially, like if you've only got a quarter of a drum left that you finished across part of the mob, and that's an easy way to do that as well.
So you've recorded all of that information, and now you can use that information as well come compliance time. So let's say, for example, for your animal health treatments, the auditor comes along, you're doing FAP or FAP plus, and they want to see a record of all of your health treatments. So you can come into your report center, which is essentially where all of your information goes, and then spits it out at you in a way that's very usable. So I'm going to have a look under animal here, and let's have a look at that health treatment report. Can do a quick date select. Let's see, for the last 60 days, for all of my animal types and classes. There we go. And it shows you everything that you've done. And you can export that as either a PDF or an Excel spreadsheet. And in all honesty, the auditors, they see this stuff and they get the pen out straight away to give you a nice juicy green tick. Now, of course, all of this, it's also available on the app. And if you want to see it on the app, just let us know in the comments section. If we have a bit of time at the end, I'm more than happy to put my app on the screen and give you a wee demo of how that works. Now, obviously on FarmIQ as well, it's a very stock-friendly piece of software. We've got your full stock list and your full stock reconciliation in here. So this is the animals I've got on hand at the moment. You can see the history of all your animals as well in here, which is very convenient with all the weights, treatments, any costs associated, drafting, paddock mobs, etc., etc. It's very handy. And with FarmIQ, you can also keep track of all your deaths, all of your sales, all of your purchases, and this will keep an up-to-date stock reconciliation, which comes very handy with our fresh integration with Figured, and also for just keeping out an up-to-date tally so you know how much grass has been consumed in which paddock, and gives you a good idea of your performance. Now, just touching on our stock reconciliation and our integrations. I'll stop sharing my screen here so you can see my lovely face again. We've got quite a wide variety of integrations, which is a good time-saving mechanism. To list a couple for our top packages, we've got True Test and Gallagher. We have TrackMap, and you can do your NATE as well through FarmIQ when you do your sales, which saves a heck of a lot of time. We really work hard on eliminating double entry, which is the bane of a lot of pain for farmers at the moment, is duplication of data. That's what we really try to avoid. Get all of it into the one place. So that's what we're trying to do in terms of both software and our relationships with other agribusiness softwares. An integration that we do have, or I'm not sure if you call it integration, we're in the same bed together now, is FarmIQ and FarmAX. So how that works is with the stock side of FarmIQ, keep your stock up to date, and that will flow through to your FarmAX. So Adam, since you're the FarmAX guru, you want to have a wee talk about how the FarmAX side things works?
Yeah, could do that. I mean, guru, you know, being called a guru and not having my turban prepared from a show prepared earlier is a bit unfair. I think other people enjoyed that with the beads and all that. But yeah, with FarmIQ and the FarmAX integration, or the relationship that they have, where things are hand in hand, in his essence, the FarmIQ app being able to keep things up to date that are stock related and pasture cover related essentially gives you FarmAX in your phone. Okay, so if I might have a guy that's fairly handy here. He's more for display purposes, but I'll use him to get the message across. And I'll quickly share my screen just so that people don't have to, you know, pretend they know what I'm talking about.
He actually does know what he's talking about, guys. He's being modest.
All right, cool. So what we can see here, so this is a pretend farm. We use it for trainings. This is more like our advanced farm in essence. What you'll see is the pasture covers, these blue dots here. Well, these blue dots are actuals. That'll be coming, that stuff that comes through from FarmIQ. Okay, so that would be, you recorded on the go and it's now here. And it's clear from this graph how going forward that saves you time. And the reason is this. A key difference between FarmIQ and FarmAX is FarmIQ is an easy way to record things as you go, and then we keep it there for accessing later. Okay. The difference now is when you give FarmAX that same information, it not only says how far you've come, so this is how many stock you've sold, this is what your pasture covers were, so you can see there's pasture covers July, August. It then uses a whole bunch of complicated maths, which would be a longer webinar, to predict where you're going to be going forward. Okay, and that's another big parcel of time saving. Okay, you're saving your time now, umming and ahhing. You can actually see a quasi prediction of what the farm's going to be performing as. Okay, so that's a benefit of recording on the go for pasture covers, feeding from FarmIQ all the way through to FarmAX. You get to see what the farm cover is and also what it could potentially be. Okay, if we stick to the stock side of things, so I'll swap the screen over to, let's look at the sheep numbers, and we'll step into the ewes. The value for the integration, again, is this side of things. If we're looking at a FarmAX screen there, is you'll see the numbers. Okay, now in the integration between FarmIQ and FarmAX, the core focus is stock related events that are stock rec. Okay, we haven't got anything coming from FarmIQ yet that's animal health treatments. That's on the wish list, or that's an enhancement request as we call them. But we do have now, like with we do now have the stock rec here being kept up to date with deaths, with purchases, and for sales. Okay, and that's the core stuff that's important for a number of reasons. First off, it's important because money often gets involved, especially when you're selling and buying stock. Okay, and the money side of things is where FarmAX again partners or leaps from the data that it's getting from FarmIQ, because you can now step into FarmAX and you can keep track of how things are going in terms of profit and loss. Okay, you've just done a sale, you've recorded that on FarmIQ on the app, that'll come through now to FarmAX, and you can see how the balance sheet is changing as the year goes on. Okay. The other thing that's important, and I'm going to stay here because it's nice and new and big and red, is the value of the extra value, or the importance of stock and that integration, is that it also feeds into these new reports. So this is the greenhouse gas report. Okay. Elements of what's happening on farm related to stock and pasture covers feed into this guy here. Okay. So the more up to date he is, the more time he's saving you. And if you can keep that up to date because you're recording on the go, you know, Bob's your uncle and Jane's your aunt, I think is the saying. Okay. So that's the FarmX, that's the carbon balance. I don't want to stay too long here because it might sound like I'm, you know, spilling hot air and all those kind of things. What I also wanted to show, and staying on the stock side, is this guy here. Okay. This here is now a breakdown of transactions for stock. Okay. And if he's being kept up to date with FarmIQ, it means you don't have to do double handling by recording it into FarmX. Okay. So what we have here is we have a way to get a breakdown of sales throughout the season, purchases, deaths, and then, well, I mean, where there's livestock, there's dead stock, and you can see that that covers quite a bit of dead stock, and it's also covering all animal types. But like Russell mentioned before, in some instances, if you can show that you're recording it and it's neat and legible, auditors are fairly happy to sign that off. But yeah, she's a beautiful relationship. There's plenty more to come, but focusing primarily on making sure that FarmIQ is a place to record pasture covers, so FarmX gets it, as well as stock rick events, so that FarmX is up to date for other predictive modeling, is always a bonus. And it all comes from keeping things up to date by recording on the go. Sweet, I'll stop sharing here and hand it back to Russell.
Cheers, Adam. Thanks for that, mate. If you have any questions at all, guys, we'll open up the chat room at the end, and feel free to keep chipping away with some questions as we go along here as well. We know you're all busy. You've probably been out on the farm all day, so we won't keep you long. Your dinner might be getting cold on the table. So yeah, it's really good for you guys to have along with us. We appreciate your time. Let us know if you have any questions there, guys. Just keep chipping away there. We're going to be at the field days next week, which we're really looking forward to. We understand that might be a little bit light on attendance given the time of year, especially being in a dairy area, and dairy farmers are pretty flat out at the moment. But we'll be there. Pop into the tent, say good day, shake your hand. It'll be lovely to meet as many of you as possible. And yeah, have we got any other questions in that chat room there, Adam? What do we see here?
There's a fair amount of feedback and fairly so from Robert H here.
Yep.
One of the comments was in terms of seeing historical data on the app. Yeah, that's not uncommon. We have elements of it specifically for the diary, and the diary has been expanded for the app. But what we're trying to get a balance is if we force the app to carry all farm information, how do we keep it fast? You know, for those of you already struggling on sort of satellite internet or dial-up or copper wire or that kind of stuff on a computer, you already know it's going to take ages to load on for a diary or a report page. Trying to force a phone to do that if your connection isn't that great is sort of setting yourself up for a little bit of frustration. That aside, if you're in good coverage, yeah, it's not impossible. But again, then the trade-off is, you know, have you talked to your phone provider and you've got enough data planned for that kind of stuff? Because obviously now you're asking your phone to carry your farm's worth of data. It's not impossible. We'd like to do more. The map is probably where we're going to focus on that kind of stuff. So using the map to see what the mob history is, using the map to see what the paddocks history is. But for other things like fuel, it's not impossible, but we're going to have to be careful so that we don't slow down the phone app.
Yeah, it's a very good point, Adam. And you know, you want as much in that app as possible so you can do it on the go, because especially with staff, if they have to do something on the desktop at the end of the day, there's a higher chance it won't get done. And FarmIQ, in all honesty, it's only as powerful as much as it's used. So if you want your staff to use it, you need as much on the app as possible. But there's a lot of data in farming, and you think about the FarmIQ app, how many things it needs to do, and then compare it against the apps that you really enjoy, say like your banking app or Uber. They're trying to do 3 things or 4 things. So there is a bit of a challenge in a balancing act of making sure the app can do enough and making sure it's not going to crash on you. So yeah, it is a fine line, but we take all advice on board. If there's something that you really want in there, let us know.
Just responding here to a question from Mark. So Mark's asking about KML files. Okay, this is relevant to, like Russell's talking, the map. For FarmIQ, our preference is a digital file in the format of a shape file. Okay. KMLs are predominantly used, well, they're used by other systems. We often get them by people who have mapped their farm on Google Pro or Google Earth Pro, that kind of stuff. Some other systems also use KML, like AutoCAD and engineering side of things. Where things get difficult is, although KML files can look pretty, especially when the engineers have done a stand-up job, generally they make those things an absent of any geographic data. So when we try to open it in FarmIQ, the system doesn't know where this pretty wonder of a fence line actually is. So yeah, KML files, it's been asked for, but in terms of how easy it would be to, yeah, it's a little bit, that's not in my realm. All I know is that if you send us a KML file, sometimes the support pixie fairies smile on us and we've been able to convert them. But it can be, it's never been a reliable process. Like I've been able to pull it off in my tenure. Certainly, if you wanted to risk it, send it through to the support team. But I can't guarantee that every KML file gets its magical chance to be turned into what it's needed. For the AutoCAD and other sort of CAD software, ideally those, I know some of them can convert AutoCAD into shapefile. The key reason why we need that is that it's not common for CAD in our experience to have the geographic data, to have the GPS coordinates that say this feature is here or this fence post is here. And without that, FarmIQ can't tell you, where to put your map, basically, or we can't show your map in the right place. There were some instances where someone tried to get clever with us and sent some stuff through from Australia, and their map ended up somewhere in the Indian Ocean. So yeah, try and send us shape files. If you've got any questions, again, with AutoCAD and KML, we're always willing to give it a go, but we're never able to make promises, yeah?
Graham, there, you've talked about the costs you put in there. Yep. So you can put some financial information in. And I'm just thinking aloud here, and Adam, feel free to fill in the gaps. Costs associated with the land, probably the place I would go to see that is go to the paddock history and under the cost tab, and that will accumulate any costs associated for that time frame. You can adjust the time filters there. So that's a great way of seeing how much did this crop of fodder beet cost me to put in. Figure out your cents per kilogram of dry matter. You can find your costs for your animals, for anything you do with your animals, through the same kind of way, through the mob history report.
Yeah.
In terms of,
would you be happy to show that, Russell,
yeah,
on some of your place?
Because
it's certainly pretty.
Yes.
I don't want to be unfair here.
Well, I don't actually put in any costs associated to my product. I don't put any financial. I find it too bloody depressing. God, I went to buy a 200-litre drum of Thistral, nearly had to remortgage the house that I don't own.
Yeah, well, if you need to spray out the house paddock so it looks good for the in-laws, maybe a mortgage is the way to go.
Yes, but I can show you where it is anyway.
Yeah, that's fair.
Let me see here.
Yeah, Robert. So they're like,
Here we are. So this is for the mob history for my mixed age use, my blue tags, which are my commercial flock. So if I had recorded how much my supplementary feed cost in here. It would show it in here, but I don't put any cost in here. It would also show the cost of any animal health products if I'd done an animal health treatment.
Are you sharing your screen?
Oh, I was giving it a go. Let me see here.
I mean, I was dazzled by your brilliance.
So you can see here, these are all the recordings I've done that could have had costs associated to it. So I would have put the cost in for how many bales I'd fed out that day, then done a cost per head. And also, if I'd done any animal health treatments during this time, it would have done the same thing.
Yeah.
For the land side of things, now it might not let me do this again because I'm trying to share my screen. Here we are. It is working now. Come down to paddock history. And you come down to costs.
Cool.
And I don't have any information in here, but it will do a cost for your time in here.
I'll ask you to pause here, though. Staying with Graham's topic just for the moment, one of the differences at the moment, but we want to sort of bridge that gap. You'll notice, and I'll slow down here just to sort of, so we all can all catch our breath. The paddock history here has a high, it's very similar in looks to the stock list mob history. And that's generally because the mob history took a leaf out of the paddock histories book. Okay. What we do want to get to is to also match the paddock history or get the mob history to match in the particular button that's in the top right corner. So you'll see in the paddock history, there's an export button. So if you just click on that for now, Russell.
Yep.
Excellent. Cool. You'll notice here, and I'm hoping, Graham, you can see that, and Robert, if you're interested, you're able to choose from the paddock history what you want to export. Okay. That can include costs. Okay. And then when you export, it should either pump out a PDF or let you choose between PDF or Excel. Okay.
Yes.
But that's one of the few places in FarmIQ where recording something on the go saves time at the other end. Because if they want, what are the costs that you've done for this paddock? It's all exported nice and easily here. What we, in terms of other costs that are easy to get to, they would be, let me think, for products and that. So the one place that could be easy to see that is the product inventory report, which I think Russell mentioned before. So if we go office, yep, and then product inventory, and then probably go inventory reconciliation. Let's have a look. Cool. So you'll see here that Russell's fairly tidy. He's keeping everything nice and open. If we go for that black arrow next to Dow Versatile.
Yep.
Sweet. And then, okay, now I've led us astray. Sorry. Take us to, so middle in the right corner, head to product inventory. Cool. Okay, stay on the, yeah, there we go. And then go for the black arrow this time. Excellent. So you'll see that in here, there's a place to put costs for chemicals and that kind of stuff. Now, I'm going to pause here and come back to Robert's point. Robert's correct in that for some instances, when you record a land event, so if it's cropping or chemical or fertilizer, and a similar sort of setup for animal, where it'll ask you to put in the cost. One of the reasons for that is FarmIQ is very hesitant to assume too much on your behalf, okay? Because we're not necessarily, like, our only presence in the paddock with you is in your phone, if you're using the app. So that's why we try to leave that open for you to put in what actually is going on. Like, what was the actual price on the day? There are some ways to pull through a recorded cost in some instances. But yeah, I can see what Robert's meaning, like, can I pull a favorite? Yeah, that would certainly save time. The closest that I've seen a favorite is when the phone itself remembers values that they've put in there.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, Robert's got a fair point that we don't sort of, there's plenty of place to put in costs, but besides the paddock history and the mob history, there's not a lot. Oh, the only other place that we can look at cost, I think, is it's a mega mundo report, is the nutrient application analysis one. I think for that one we do a cost for fertilizer applied and that kind of stuff. And again, that gets exported out.
And you can take it out as a spreadsheet as well.
Yeah, which is pretty
manually.
Common.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, let's just have a quick look. Several places, capture information, default costs we've covered. Yeah, that's about it. But yeah, we have been asked for getting more of those costs out, especially in a sense of if we, with an integration, like when we're integrating FarmIQ to FarmX, we want to have those costs and prices coming through as well. When we're integrating FarmIQ to Figured, we want to kind of show Figured that we know what the cost of something actually is instead of, the default stuff coming through. So it's all sort of happening in piecemeal.
I've got here in the private chat someone saying they want to see real quickly how to do an animal health treatment on the app. So I think we'll do that. And if there's any more questions, we'll address those, and then we'll call her a night. So just bear with me for a second here, guys, while I bring up my phone screen here. I'm going to get real flash.
We might just see if you've got a picture of the heading dog or the or your delightful other half.
I believe it's my hunter wave.
Nice.
Can you all see my screen there?
Yep, I can see a screen.
Can you see my... not that one there.
Yeah, I can see a phone link screen.
Let's give that a go again. Let's see here. I might have to go just entire screen here. That's all right. Just a second, folks, sorry. Go entire screen, and then you can all... Can you all see that there? I understand it's a bit messy.
Whoa. we can see behind the green curtain. I no longer appear to be a wizard.
Alrighty. I'll show you real quickly on here. That's my Boy Scout. Coming to the... Firstly, I'll show off the...
Yeah, we can't see no phone just yet, though.
No, you can't. Oh, we might have to knock it on the head. That's a shame.
Well, what we can do is let's stay with the web then. Take us into your place if that's okay.
Yeah, sure.
And we'll quickly do this one from Rob in terms of switching between batches on a single chemical product. We'll stay on your farm and then head into it.
Here we go.
Cool. Batches on a single chemical. Yeah, it can certainly be done. Because I'm assuming there's instances where you might have the same batch code, Rob, for the same product, yeah? Is that kind of what you're after? Like to choose between those? Yep, land.
So let me just see real quickly what products I've got in here. So we know which ones to select here. Sweet. So I've got 2 batches of the Roundup 360. So let's do an example with the Roundup 360, shall we?
Cool. Yeah, that'll be a good example because it also matches what Rob's after in terms of same product, 2 batches.
Yep. Alrighty. And I'll click away and feel free to commentate, Adam.
He deftly clicks with the left mouse button. There's no hesitation. He doesn't hover over the space bar.
It's doing their bloody thing. Here we go. Say it happened today. Applicator was I. Chemical.
Cool. Yeah, so for this bit here, it would be to have the different batches.
Mm-hmm.
Swap the number of applications from 1 to 2. Yep. And then from there, you've got a row for each batch. And that would be, it's the same product, but the different batches are being counted for. The key thing to bear in mind is when filling this out, don't be intimidated by what FarmIQ auto calculates or anything like that. You see that total there? Don't let it bully you. Always make sure that you are putting in the true total, and then FarmIQ will sort itself out.
So then I can go again.
Yep. So round up. And then I think the other batch was 1, 2, 3, 4 from memory.
Yep.
Nice.
Then it sorts it all out for you.
Yeah. So that's an example there of it's the same product, but they got different batches. It's also a good way, if we come up a little bit, I'll sort of set other people's mind at ease. You'll notice, like with paddock history and mob history mimicking each other, chemical events like this, cropping and fertilizer, will follow a similar protocol or a similar outlay. So that allows you to record a fert event or a cropping event with multiple fertilizers included. So for example, if you did some capital fert and a little bit of trace stuff, you could still have them all in the same page. Okay. The same process or the same template rules follow an animal health treatment. So if you just finished tailing, that's my nod there to the South Island term for.
Oh, good on you.
There we go. It didn't even blink an eye. It's so natural. Yeah, that's because tailing is what it's called. But anyway, at tailing, if you've done a drench, then a B12, and then maybe like a, because do you guys scratch for scabby mouth? You do like the scabby mouth vaccine? Yeah.
Yep, we do.
So following a similar process, you could have them all recorded in one go, and then they'll all appear in the health treatment report. But yeah, this here is a chemical event, and you can use the same chemical, different batches. The same, it's not going to look the same on the app, but the app can do the same thing because we've made them to sort of match each other. Yes. So Rob's correct. I'll let you in behind the curtains here. Bring us back up to the rate.
Come up to the rate.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's something that we want to get fixed. But when it shows the 360 liters per hectare, it's pulling from the active ingredient. So yeah, that's why I encourage people, if you know the truth, as you should, put the correct total in there.
Whatever you want it to be.
Correct. And it's like Rob has mentioned here, I presume you'd enter the amount remaining. That's correct. You'd put the amount remaining for the first batch or the relevant one, and then whoever's left on the other one. And the same rule applies for health treatments and fertilizers and etc. Cool. All right, Russell, are you going to put some costs in there?
Oh, why not? Let's put how much we think this would cost.
Now, something that's important to note here is, and probably why Russell's been getting away with it for so long, is that even though costs are here and they're automated, you'll notice there's 2 lines for each product. We don't sort of hold you up at them. You can get this out the road. That's where the little dustbin is. Okay.
Yeah.
The other thing is this, and you'll see it in almost any FarmIQ event. Russell, if you bring us to the unit column and just give us a jab there where it says price per unit, there should be a drop-down menu come down for us.
Got price per unit and total cost there.
Cool. And then other events will let you choose, like, so for example, if you wanted to have, so if you go add another cost for me there, Russell, please. And then swing over to, I think you can choose labor cost or something.
Yeah.
And that lets you choose the total or the per hour and that kind of stuff as well.
Since it was me doing it, here we are.
It's not a bottle. It's not a quart of Johnny Walker per quarter acre, is it?
No, definitely not.
It's not the surfactant or the applicant. Yeah, but Rob's pretty much been on the ball tonight. Good on you, Rob. We'll send you a free hat. And we enter inventory, put in the cost. This doesn't pull through. No, not if it's at the product level. Generally at the batch level, you can kind of be safe, and but we do want the system to be smarter for that, especially for guys that are using the spring planning tool and other tools that pull directly from the product inventory. So that's something that we're aware of. Right. Well, we're 20 to 8, and we've got a fabulous audience. We might give 5 minutes for somebody to rush in questions, rush ahead of the queue. But other than that, thanks for coming on, and hope we saved you some time in terms of explaining why recording on the go means less time in front of the computer, kind of.
And we really value your input, guys. A big part of my job is taking the farmer's voice to Wellington. An example of that was I had quite a few complaints that you couldn't do seed mixes on FarmIQ. It was too encumbersome. Took it to the office, and they fixed it. So in a matter of a week or two, you'll be able to do seed mixes on FarmIQ. So that's just a small example of that. You tell us what you want in it, and we'll do our best to deliver.
We'll certainly do our best. But yeah, no, it's been good. Cheers for jumping on, everybody. And
thank you, guys.
If you want to see more of Russell, just keep asking for it.
I want to see your mum, mate. See you guys.